I know what you guys are thinking. Did Alphaba and Glenda kiss? They did not, okay? They did not. So for now, I'm reviewing Wicked for Good. So Wicked for Good, this takes place a few years after part one. Alphaba's on the run, Glenda's stepping into her role of being the good, and everything in Oz is completely collapsing under the weight of lies, politics, and heartbreak. Cynthia and Ariana are back, and this time the stakes are bigger. The world is darker, and the story finally pushes forward into the story that we know of, The Wizard of Oz. So let's start with Wicked the Good. The opening of this is amazing. The visuals, just everything. Like, I was jaw dropped for like the first 5 minutes of this, because this was actually extremely action packed for what it was. And you knew, you're like, okay, this story is going to be something. This story is going to change everything. Gotta talk about the performances from Ariana and Cynthia, because they are respectfully in their roles of Glenda and the Wicked Witch. So you see that expand more from them. You see Alphaba embrace herself. You see Glenda embrace herself. And both of them on the screen, when they're apart, it's good. And when they're together, it is very, very ecstatic. With Ariana's character actually balancing out her softer, heartbreaking innocence, and the intensity in Cynthia's character's role, both of those coming together on screen really carried this film. And I already said that in part one. If you guys haven't checked it out, go on my channel right now and see that I reviewed part one literally a few days ago. And we gotta talk about the songs that I liked. There were a couple songs that weren't from the book that was in here, but this one of the songs that I did like was the song that was with Glenda, Oz, and, you know, Alphaba. It was similar to Popular, if you guys know exactly what I mean, and I've enjoyed the Popular song. The emotion delivery across some songs is still strong, and hint why I say some songs, because I will talk about that in the negatives. And the character growth in this, when you see this, it is a time jump, so you do see the growth with Glenda and Alphaba in this. And I love how they wrote that in here to conclude this story. They're both more mature, they're both more confident, and they're both more respected in their roles. Even with the supporting characters, you see how much they've grown with this time jump, some in good ways and some in bad ways. And visually, this movie is still absolutely stunning. Costume designs, the magical effects, just the scenery, the ambiance of just everything in Emerald City. Just everywhere in this film, every frame is just of a beautiful, visual, stunning thing in this movie. And I do appreciate that. And I need to spin back a little bit to talk about the outfits, because the outfits were tea. They were so good looking. I appreciate that aspect of it. And I do like, for the most part, how this does slowly creep into the events of Wizard of Oz. Only a little fraction of it. You guys will see what I'm talking about when you guys see it. When there's good, there's bad, and we're about to talk about that. I know a lot of people are gonna dog me for this. Part two didn't hit as hard as part one did. Hear me out, because I know you guys are gonna like get mad, because part two is supposed to be the more emotional take than part one. But part one really did something to me. Like, when I saw part one, the goosebumps that it gave me, especially like Defying Gravity, that song literally had my jaw dropped for part one. I adored everything about part one. You guys can literally go see that in my review. But part two did not give me that same feeling. I didn't really feel what they were trying to make me feel. It didn't really execute it as well as, you know, I was hoping for. It didn't execute as well as part one did, because this one does have a bit of a pacing issue as well as part one, but this one's pacing issue is, you know, worse. Like, it feels like the movie ends like 4 times. Like, during my early screening of it, like, there's a scene that it goes to black, and then people started clapping and some people started standing up, and then the screen came back on again and they're like, oops. So like, and then it happened a few more times after that. So like, this movie, it seemed like it was gonna end on multiple different occasions, and then it just kept going, and I was like, oh, okay. And the editing is noticeably rough. Like, look, I know you guys can criticize me all you guys want because I'm a beginner YouTuber, so my editing's not even that crisp, but the editing in this movie was pretty choppy. Like, some scenes just fit in so weirdly. It's just, I'm not even trying to find stuff to complain about. Like, this is just how I felt. And like, I know the ending of the second act is really not everyone's cup of tea, and it really wasn't my cup of tea in this movie. It kind of falls flat after a while. Like, most of the aspects that do involve the story of the Wizard of Oz just seems cheap and just to throw in there as like some Marvel cameo or something. And there's some new songs in this movie which kind of don't resonate with me. Like, I get that they wanted to add new songs in, but some of these songs really just feel like they're just the same version of the songs from part one. I wanted something different. I wanted something new for this, and I didn't really get that. This felt somewhat recycled. And look, I know people don't like her in the book, and she was fairly annoying in part one. I don't care for Nessa Rose. Like, she's a very unlikable character, and she's shown to be much more unlikable in part two. Yes, that's possible. The storyline is still cold and messy, and it really just shows how terrible she actually is. And it was entertaining, but I just don't care for her character. But the ending of this movie, this felt somewhat emotionally flat. Some people would disagree, but I just really felt like part one brought in more than part two did. The vibes of this movie, the theme, just power and corruption, this goes deeper into what part one was going into. Like, you see how bad it gets with the racism, with the fascism, with just politics in general. And the way that you see that the most higher up people can change people's perspective of you just to fit a narrative it's such a big touch on the real world, how people just change stuff just for their narrative and just to not like somebody. There's still great material in this movie though. It's just not as well as part one. Wicked Part 2 is good, but it's not great. It's beautifully made and it has a lot of strong performances. It hits a few massive emotional beats, but it just doesn't hold a candle to Part 1 in my opinion. So, Wicked for good, my rating for this is entertainment. But you guys tell me what you guys thought of Part 2. I know a lot of people walked out the theater saying that was like the best thing ever, so comment and tell me what you guys think about it. And if you like my vibe, comment below, like and subscribe, and I'm James Hancock, signing off.